Shalom, shalom. It's your brother Raza Allah from GMS London Camp. First and foremost, when they give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone. Blessings to the hopeful and sincere elect. Now, you just got some new information in regards to the coming famine of the word. You know, as of late, brothers over here in the UK, brothers' channels in particular have been taken off the YouTube stream platform without any warning or notice. A particular brother just the other day wanted to log into his account, to do some updates and checks, and then come to find out that the channel's been deleted off the YouTube without any warning or strikes, from the community guidance and all that stuff that they usually do. His channel just got wiped off YouTube, without his, knowing, basically. And he said he tried to appeal it, but the channel's basically gone anyway, so you have to make up a new one. And that's going to be happening more and more in these last days, leading to the famine of the word, because these devils are getting emotional, man, and this truth is becoming a burden, just like it did just like the Jakes did, the Israelites did, or the Jews were 2,000 years ago in Jerusalem, in the ancient Rome. And that talks about that in Acts, the 18th chapter, and Caesar Claudius had to expel Jews out of the cities because they was causing too much upheaval, too much contention and strife regarding Yahweh Shai's doctrine, man. And once again, we got the word of Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, the true men of the Lord, pushing the names throughout the four winds of the earth. But this time we're using the great feed horn, the unicorn, which is the internet, the World Wide Web, to distribute this truth and gather the elect. And Esau is getting very, as I said, emotional and having to do a lot of damage control. So now, over here, the British Council is proposing that they're going to ban street preaching as well, sending shockwaves through the so-called Christian community, which they're modern day pagan Christians, these Renaissance art Christians, should I say, they ain't got the truth anyway. But this is really to target the men of the Lord, the ones that rebuke you from the gate. And they hate them that rebuke you from the gate, because we speak the truth of Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai. Like the Lord said, to sanctify them with thy truth, because thy word is truth. So there's a little paragraph right here. I'm not going to read the whole thing, just this little paragraph, and then I'm going to go to some scriptures and close out. This is a proposal from Rushmore Borough Council in Hampshire, England, to impose restrictions on Christian street preachers in the towns of Farnborough and Aldershot, sparked widespread concerns among religious groups. It says the plan included a potential injunction to limit public preaching due to complaints about noise and disruption. And that's exactly what this truth is causing. It's causing a major disruption, especially in the midst of all the lies, the strongholds of lies that these devils are, pushed throughout these centuries to bewilder the people and lie to the people, confuse the people, especially you tribes out there, you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who are the true biblical Israelites, that are waking up. That great awakening talks about Ezekiel, the 37th chapter, about the dry bones in the valley. And the valley represents America, and that's why the Apostle Elder Tahar, other apostles and elders, a great millstone, been saying the same thing, that we're supposed to be prophesying in America, because that's where the great deliverance is going to take place. Not no Africa or anywhere else. The great deliverance is really going to be in America, and you're going to have Israelite foreigners that's going to hear the word throughout the four winds by way of the World Wide Web, not by us jumping on planes and Boeing jets and boats and all of that. But they're going to hear the word wherever they're at, and they're going to prophesy. And if they're part of the hopeful elect, they're going to be beamed up with the other brethren when the Lord sends the angels to gather his elect from the four winds of the earth. So you are going to have Israelites are scattered amongst all these different nations, but we're supposed to be prophesying over there in the main the valley, the valley which represents America, Salakia, Babylon the Great, and that's where the Great Awakening started, and that's where it's going to end. Says the plan is to include potential injunctions to limit public preaching due to complaints about noise and disruption, and has been met with accusations of infringing on basically people's the rest of the article, but I'm sure it's going to say something like people's public so-called what's the word? It just escaped my mind. But people's basically like identities and so on and so forth, man. Because we're out here dispelling all the lies with this truth. As I just mentioned, John the 17th chapter says the Lord is to sanctify them with this truth, because thy word is truth. So all the lies of the strongholds that these devils have been perpetuating throughout these years, fraudulating this whole society, this whole system, is being torn down by the word of the Lord. You know, Hebrews 4 and 12. And in Corinthians, it tells you that the Lord, you know, the word of the Lord is we're supposed to be spiritual and not carnal. The weapons of our warfare are spiritual and not carnal, and tearing down the strongholds, you know. And that this truth is going to flourish in the last days, you know. So this is exactly what's happening, and these devils are getting scared because they're seeing Jake waking up. They know they're seeing they got the analytics, and they're seeing the numbers of Jake starting in tune and waking up around the formers of the earth regarding this truth, you know. But this is only concerning the elect anyway. The elect are going to be delivered in the end of this whole deal. So, you know, this is definitely going to spread around the four winds of the earth, because brothers got camps all over the four winds of the earth, and especially America, they're going to come out with more bannings and more infringement on your freedom of speech, so to speak. And, you know, freedom of speech is going to no longer exist, because that's going to be it's going to be exempt from the Constitution, so to speak, your constitutional rights. That says Amos 8 and 11. It says, behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, Hashem Yahweh Shai, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst of water, no thirst for water, even though that's going to be happening as well. So you got people, you know, getting very seditious right now because of this Trump situation, the tariff wars, and people are rioting and over there in the different states in America. Brothers are doing sit-downs right now. You know, brother Amawan Gabar, GMS Awakenings channel, he's doing a live sit-down in regards to that topic, sedition amongst men, you know, because, you know, that guy Trump is doing a perfect job. He's doing what he was paid to do. Basically destabilizing the whole American society and economy, man, and causing so much hatred and anger that people are just losing their shit, man, you know. So now they're just rioting and, you know, polluting the streets, which is going to end up turning more violent as the days come on, and leading to the time of Jacob's trouble, martial law and all of that. It says, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor for a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Lord. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north into the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Lord, and shall not find it. And that's where they're mainly going to find this truth, or over the internet. You know, you got guys, you know, camps like IUIC traveling on jets and all that, trying to go to different countries, and you ain't going to be able to go to every country on the earth before Yahweh Shai comes to so-called spread the word. And you're more than likely going to be talking to a bunch of heathens, because you guys ain't got the spirit to discern between Israelites and you know, so-called Africans, Hamites, man. Even though we got the same color, we two different spirits, come from two different lines, Ham and Shem. So, you know, we ain't gonna need to go on no boats and none of that jets, globe trotting, so to speak. You know, as the apostle's been saying, the internet does all the heavy lifting for us. So people are going to be wandering to and fro, going on different websites, looking for old videos, uploads of this truth, especially from the true men of the Lord, Great Millstone, and not going to be able to find it, because Esau is going to cut the shit down, man. He's going to restrict it, and there's going to be more censorship than ever before. And America's going to become like communist China, man, with massive censorships. and all of that major restrictions. Unless you got the new digital ID, which encompasses you having a micro C hip embedded in your body, the implant, which is the MOT to the B, you know. So it's all coming down to the wire. So Isaiah 24:11, it says that there's a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened, the mirth of the land is gone. And that's twofold, because the actual wine, people will be crying because, you know, wine's going to become unaffordable. All these high taxes and, you know, high inflation that's happening right now, it's only going to get worse. All these different tariff prices that are that's messing up the markets. You know, there was a major crash the other day. Not crash, but you know, basically a major plunge in the stock markets worldwide because of Trump and these damn liberation tariffs that he tried to celebrate. You know, that's causing hell all over the economic markets, man. You know, and the future's not looking bright, man. It's looking dark and gloomy. You know, so America's on its way out. It says, and all joy is dark and the mirth of the land is gone. So people are going to be catching untimely hell, man. All that comfort and carelessness is going to come back to bite people in the arse, especially these women and them that are settled on their lease, man. They're going to be catching untimely hell like never before in the time of Jacob's trouble. You know, it's going to be unexpected. You know, element of surprise, basically. So America is definitely, it's gone past circling the drain. Now it's actually just going down the drain pipe as we speak. It's Ezekiel 3:17. It's the Son of Man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore hear the word of my mouth and give them warning from me. So the real true men of the Lord, this is why we're out there on the highways and hedges, which these devils are saying they're going to restrict now. So-called street preaching, because the Lord said to go out in the highways and hedges and compel Israel to come in, you know. Show my people their transgressions, you know. Shout, sound the alarm, blow the trumpet, you know, and which means we're going to be loud and we're going to be passionate, you know, and we're going to be authoritative in the word of the Lord, authoritative in this distributing the word of the Lord and teaching the truth, just like our Lord and Savior Yahweh Shai, when he was on the scene, he had an authoritative, austere manner, and he, you know, he stood by everything that he said, you know. He didn't mix his words. He wasn't, you know, shy about the truth, and he didn't hold back, basically. And neither did the disciples. The disciples had the same spirit. So we got that same spirit now. The true people of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, pushing Yahweh Shai's doctrine. The Lord said he didn't give us the spirit of fear, but made us bold like lions, and so on and so forth. So we're gonna exhume that when we're out there on the highways and hedges. The Lord said to make our heads hard against their foreheads, meaning our people, because they're going to be the ones that's going to come up against us the most. It says, so I'll jump down to verse 26, because now, you know, the word's gone out around the four winds of the earth, and then the Lord said what the end shall come, because it went around the four winds of the earth by way of the World Wide Web, the YouTube and all that, daily motions and so on and so forth. It says, but and says, and then verse 26, which is coming very soon, regarding the famine and the word, it says, and I will make thy tongue cleave to the roof of thy mouth. Meaning what? The Lord's going to shut up the mouth of the prophets in the time of Jacob's trouble. We're coming to that time now. You know, it says that thou shalt be dumb and shall not be to them a reprover. So there's going to be a time where we're not going to be out there reproving and rebuking you Jakes anymore. That the time's going to come to an end, and the doors of judgment are going to get kicked wide open, man. Because once the men of the Lord, the prophets, of me taken off the streets, that means the doors of mercy are fully shut. That's been slammed doors, locked, shut, and there's no more mercy seat for none of you Jakes. 2/3 is going to be catching untimely hell, and you're going to have to deal with that between you and the Lord, man. You know, and the elect that's been sealed from the set perils, they're going to be all right. Just like the Lord said, my servants shall eat when everyone else is in hunger and all of that. So the Lord said he's going to, thou shalt be dumb and shalt not be to them a reprover. So we're not going to be out there reproving Jake anymore. you know. And the Lord's not going to give you that second chance to get right, basically, that grace period. Now it's just time for straight up pure judgment. And that's when the death angels are going to be lurking. This is for they are a rebellious house, and that's the 2/3. That's why the Lord said 2/3 shall be cut off and died, man. And the Lord's not going to, when he's not going to hear the cries and lamentations of the 2/3, the Lord said, lift up no cry, no prayer for them. Because he's not going to hear their cries in that day when all hell breaks loose. Because, you should have, listened to when the prophets was out there reproving you, rebuking you in the spirit, and get right with the Lord back then. You should have repented from then. But, Jake stubborn as all hell. They're always on this lastminute.com type business, type spirit. So the Lord's not dealing with that. So the Lord is going to take his men off the road, off the street, so to speak, and cleave and close the roof of their mouth, cleave their tongues basically, and make their tongues cleave to the roof of their mouth. So they're going to be non-advisable in that day. You Jakes are going to have to fend for yourself. This is Amos 5 and 12. It says, for I know your manifold transgressions and your mighty sins. They afflict the just, they take a bribe, and they turn aside the poor and the gate from their right. And that's talking about the unrighteous prophets, man, the false prophets out there. The hirelings and charlatan leaders that are really just a bunch of poverty pimps and using this truth to make merchandise and make money, for filthy lucre, man, because their God is their belly. It says, therefore the prudent shall keep silence in that time, for it is an evil time. So who's the prudent? It's talking about the true men of the Lord. The real wise men, so to speak, of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, the prophets, So in that time of Jacob's trouble, the Lord said he's going to make the prudent man is going to keep silence. Just like he says he's going to make their tongue to cleave unto the roof of their mouth. In that time, which is what time of Jacob's trouble, it says, for it is an evil time. Yeah, evil's bad times on the earth. And if there be evil in the city, the Lord is the one that done it. So this is what's coming in. Verse 15, hate the evil and love the good, and establish judgment in the gate, which we was trying to do. For many years, since 07 on the YouTube feed, brothers has been, from the apostles and elders on down, the fruits that they've, the manifold fruit that they've got throughout the four winds of the earth has been trying to establish judgment in the gate, fan in the hand. And now we're going to go to the gates of the nobles in that time. And you put more pressure on these damn devils, even if it means they're bringing us before, kings and judges to be punished, so persecuted, so to speak, which that's part of, the truth. Being in this truth, you're going to be persecuted, demonized, so on and so forth, man. Hated more than loved. If you're a true prophet of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, says it may be that the Lord power of hosts will be gracious unto the remnant of Joseph. The Lord's only concerned with the remnant, man, which is the elect. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, the power of hosts, the Lord saith this, wailing shall be in all streets, and they shall say in all the highways, alas, alas, and they shall call on the husbandman to mourning, and to such that are skillful on lamentation to wailing. So that's what the men of the Lord have been doing, man. So it's gonna get bloody out in these streets now. It's only gonna get more and more violent, more and more seditious, more and more lawlessness. People not want to regard their kings, lord, princes, or their neighbors, man. It's just gonna become, do for self, so to speak. Real selfish out here. As it says in that evil time, evil shall multiply and manifest. Because wicked shall, so it's like I'm butchering, but because evil shall manifest, roughly paraphrasing, the love of many shall wax cold. So that's the times we're coming into. It says, and all the vineyards shall be wailing, for I will pass through thee, saith the Lord. Yep. So this is going to be a dark time on the earth, man. That's the times we're coming into. It's going to lead into the day of the Lord, which is ultimately when that nuclear destruction takes place. But before that, when they initiate the MOT to the being mandated around the four winds, persecutions that's going to be coming, by way of the martial law, Jacob's trouble, internment camps, bringing back capital punishment. I mean, Trump even signing the no-hide laws over in Israel a month ago or so. He went to deal with the no-hide laws, which includes basically bringing back capital punishments of execution by a firing squad. They're going to bring back the guillotines, So it's going to America's going to become a straight-up war zone, man. Very soon, overnight, man. The whole of America is going to be changed. The whole spirit and mindset and just straight-up savagery of America is going to be truly shown, man, in these last days. And guys like Trump, as I said, he's doing a perfect job in leading America down that path, down that road to perdition, man, because America's the eighth head that came out of the seven, which was made to go into perdition, meaning to be destroyed. So that famine of the word is definitely on the horizon, so Akim, get ready, man. Brothers been saying this, man, for the longest, man, and the Lord said it himself, when these things come to pass, be as pilgrims on the earth, be ready to make a move, man, be ready in the spirit, in the mind, to, be demonized and persecuted for righteousness' sake, but, all is not lost, because we're doing the right thing, the righteous thing in the eyes of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, so he's going to protect his men. But these people out here, the 2/3, they're going to be catching it, man, women and children, especially these women, these careless women, man, they're going to be catching it like never before, so as I always say, we got to watch this space. But with that anyway, I think I had one more precept, or maybe not. So with that, I'm going to close out. Give all praises and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Rekakotash, and Shalom to the hopeful and sincere elect.